Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 10WT Friday, where every single week we teach you how to form the healthy habits that will transform your body and your life. At the 10-Week Transformation, we teach you a 5-step framework. It starts with building your big, your why behind your fitness. Then we set your success indicator, which is what you want to accomplish and by when. Next is identifying your progress indicators, which are the weekly behaviors that will undoubtedly progress you closer to your goals. Then we help you plan your pills, which are the micro habits that increase the likelihood that you succeed amidst the chaos of your life. And lastly, we help you set up your scoreboard, which increases the stakes of the game and gives you the feeling of game on. If you do these steps, your habits are going to be rock solid, your self-confidence is going to skyrocket, and you'll be on the path to your best you. Every single week, we help individuals who are hungry for growth, people just like yourself, optimize their potential. I'm your host, Nick Carrier, and today, I'm super excited to talk about how to set your goal not too big and not too small. The goal of the Best You podcast is to allow you to feel confident about what you need to do, why you need to do it, and how to do it in order to get closer and closer to your best you. It's that time of year. It is simply that time of year where everybody is talking about goals or everybody's talking about New Year's resolutions. I just wish that I talk about it all the time and it's not, I almost get frustrated that everybody else just talks about it in January because it needs to be something that needs to be always talked about. And so I'm not just talking about it now because it's January. This is something that if you've been following me for a long time or you're a listener of the podcast, a subscriber of the podcast, you know we talk about this stuff all the time. And so this is not new news. But one of the things that I think a lot of people get wrong in the beginning of the new year with New Year's resolutions and goals and stuff is they have lofty dreams because they're told to dream big, think big, and all that kind of stuff, which is great. But oftentimes it sets us up for failure. Oftentimes, it sets us up for failure. So today we're going to talk about what can we do to make sure we set the right goal, the right sized goal, making sure it's not too big, it's not too small, and it's right smack dab where it needs to be to make sure that we can execute on it at a high level, but it stretches us. It really expands our capability, expands our comfort zones. It makes us an upgraded version of ourselves. Really quickly, I'm going to nerd out with you. One of the things that is so cool about personal development and about personal growth, and it's one of the reasons why I talk about an upgraded version of yourself when getting closer to your best you, is when you experience new things, when you learn new things, there are new neural networks and new neural pathways that literally get formed inside of your body, inside of your brain, therefore making you literally more of yourself. How cool is that? When you learn new things, experience new things, gain new knowledge, skills, and experience, you build new neural networks and connections, therefore literally making more of you. Therefore, you're an upgraded version of yourself. There is more of you out there. And that's so cool. And so that is why goal setting is so big and necessary in order to get closer to the best version of yourself, but it needs to be done correctly. So many people have bad relationships with the word goal, and it's understandable because if you set a goal and you work pretty hard towards it, but nothing comes to fruition, then you're like, what's the use of setting goals in the first place? And it all starts with making sure that you set the right size goal. And that's with the 10-Week Transformation. It's called setting your success indicator. Oftentimes people don't do it because when you clearly paint a picture of success, it also paints a picture of what failure looks like. Oftentimes people don't tell themselves that they're going to lose a certain amount of weight because when they don't, they know they've failed. And oftentimes people don't say that they want to lose a certain amount of weight because they're like, oh, I know it's going to be hard. I know that now I'm going to be responsible for trying to execute on this goal. And most people are just complacent with being where they are rather than trying to put in the work to getting closer to where they want to be. But that's not you guys. That's not you guys. If you're listening to the Best You podcast, you are somebody who wants to get closer to the best version of yourself. You're committed to setting goals, but not in a way that sets you up for failure and messes up your relationship with goals, but in a way that allows you to progress in a healthy manner. So let's talk about it. There's two words that I like to make sure we always have a balance of when we're setting fitness goals, and any goal for that matter. And that's meaningful and believable. Meaningful meaning that it is big. It is something that would really fire you up and be really meaningful if and when you achieved it. Number two, though, it has to be believable. You have to believe that you actually have the ability to achieve it. Now, that doesn't mean you're shortchanging yourself. You're not setting a really easy goal to achieve. What believable means is I believe I can do this if I really put my mind to it. If I really execute on the strategy that I know will get me there, or have a high level of belief will get me there, then I think I can achieve this goal. Because the idea is if you just set a really big goal and then you start acting on it and then you don't believe you can actually achieve it and you start falling behind a little bit, then you're going to completely lose faith in the realism of the goal and you're going to quit. Because that's one of the things about human beings. If we feel like we're falling behind, we're more susceptible to quitting. If we feel like we're falling behind, we're more susceptible to quitting. So if you set a goal to lose 20 pounds in 10 weeks and after 5 weeks into the thing, you've only lost 5 pounds, you might feel like you're falling behind, but that's only because you set the goal of losing 20 pounds. While losing 5 pounds over 10 weeks is awesome. It's awesome. That's the danger of setting really, 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 really lofty goals, especially when you don't exactly know what you're talking about, in the sense that if people set a goal to lose weight, but they're not having professional help, they don't have a trainer, they don't have a nutritionist or anything like that, they're just kind of like picking a number out of thin air and saying, this is what I think I can lose. And if you're doing that and then you don't make the progress that you feel like you should be at the pace that you feel like you should be, you're going to feel like you're falling behind and then you're going to quit. When in reality, 5 pounds over 5 weeks is awesome. So, meaningful versus believable. Whatever goal you have for yourself, whether it's a health and fitness goal or a different kind of goal, ask yourself, what's the right balance of this? What's the right balance of meaningful and believable? How can it be big enough to really fire me up, but it's believable enough to where if I really apply myself, I believe I can achieve this goal? The next couple of things are absolutely critical. This is what we always talk about in our vision casting day with the 10-week transformation. So with the 10-week transformation, in week number 1, we have what we call a vision casting day. And this is where we take a look at our calendar up ahead. We take a look at our calendar between week 1 and week 10, and we say, okay, what are the challenges and the obstacles that I'm going to have to overcome in order to hit my goal? And then we start to determine what our level of sacrifice is and determine what we're willing and able to do when those challenges and obstacles present themselves. And one of my favorite stories to tell is I had somebody come in who said at the beginning of the 10-week transformation, she wanted to lose 20 pounds in 10 weeks. And I was like, okay, let's talk about it. And then we went through her strategy, and then she told me about how in week 5, she had her brother's wedding. And I was like, okay, awesome. Well, your goal is to eat less sweets, or your goal is to eat, I forget how many it was, but let's say eat 4 sweets or less each week. It's your brother's wedding. Do you feel like you're going to be able to do that? Are you willing to sacrifice having sweets that weekend, having cake that weekend? And I didn't care what she answered. I just wanted her answer to be honest and be something that she was willing and able to do. And she was like, you know what? No, I'm not. I want to have wedding cake and have a really good time at my brother's wedding. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, to lose 20 pounds in 10 weeks, you have to lose 2 pounds every single week. So if you have this week where you're not going to be committed to it, which is fine, you're not going to lose any weight. But let's make the goal to just try to sustain your weight during that week. And then we did the same thing for a couple weeks thereafter. And so instead of losing 20 pounds, her goal was lose 14 pounds. And she ended up losing 12 pounds. And so she was fired up because she got really close to hitting her goal. But losing 12 pounds when your goal is 14 is a whole lot different than losing 12 pounds when your goal is 20. And the only thing that was different was she had a vision of what her calendar looked like between in that 10-week timeline, in the time frame of her goal. And therefore, she set the size of her goal based off of that. That's what I'm really would like for you guys to do is when you set your goal and you know the time frame, look at your schedule and see what obstacles and challenges are in your way and adjust the end goal based off of those challenges and those obstacles, because you have to ask yourself, what am I willing and able to sacrifice, or what am I willing and able to do during this time? and then come up with an honest answer for yourself. So again, guys, today is all about how to set your goal, not too big and not too small, how to set your success indicator, because that will indicate to you that you've been successful with your goal. You need a starting line, a finish line, and a deadline. Where are you currently? Where do you want to be? And by when? We need a by when. It's going to scare you a little bit to set a by when, to set a finish date. But that's what provides you with urgency. That's what provides you with some leverage, that back against your wall, that, oh, there's a timeline on this thing. I've got to work hard. I've got to work hard. I've got to go. I've got to go. I've got to go. I've got to go. But keep in mind that when the timeline comes up, that doesn't mean it's all said and done. You can continue to progress on that same goal. But setting a timeline really does a great job of providing us with urgency and motivation and leverage. So make sure you set that timeline as well. So again, setting your goal, setting your success indicator. You need a starting line, a finish line, and a deadline. And you need to ensure that within that deadline, within that time frame, that your finish line, your goal is meaningful and believable. It's big enough that it would really fire you up if you achieved it. But you really believe that you can achieve it if you set your mind to it, if you're committed to it. I hope this helps you today. I hope you guys are thinking about specific goals. If you have not already, work on it now. What are specific goals that you want to achieve here at the beginning of 2023? What are specific goals? And then ask yourself through the lens of meaningful and believable, what's the appropriate size for this goal given the time frame that I want to work on it? What is the appropriate size of this goal given the time frame that I want to work on it? Make sure you share this episode with a friend or family member who you know is also working on a particular goal, because you don't want them to have a bad relationship with the word goals by setting themselves up for failure by setting the wrong sized goal. You want them to have a good relationship with goals, because when you have a good relationship with goals, you will continue to set them. That's why it's so appropriate. That's why it's so not appropriate. It's so important, because if you have a bad relationship with goals, you're going to stop setting them. Therefore, you're not going to improve as much as you could. Therefore, you're not going to get closer to the best version of yourself at the rate at which you could. But if you do set the appropriate size goal, then you're going to have a great relationship with your goals, and you're going to continue to set goals, and you'll continue on the trajectory closer and closer to your best you at an effective and efficient rate. Woo, man, it fires me up if you can't tell. I hope you guys, again, got something from today. If you feel like you're still unsure with your particular goal, whether it's a health and fitness goal or another goal, I would love to help you really identify what meaningful and believable means for you. And you can do that by joining me on a free call at nickcarrier.com/free call. Again, we're going to hop on. We're going to ask, what are your goals? What are your dreams? How can we make sure we set it at an appropriate size? And then let's develop a weekly strategy of A, B, and C. Let's do A, B, and C every single week, and that's what's going to get you to that goal. I will help develop that strategy for you at the beginning of the year so you can make sure this year is your healthiest, most confident, best year yet. Again, if you want to do a free call, go to nickcarrier.com/free call, and we'll make it happen. Appreciate you guys tuning in today. Share it with a friend or family member. Act on what you learned today. I hope it helps you get closer and closer to your fitness goals and helps you get closer and closer to your best you.